This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
Hey, I've really been busy, so let's
kidding.
Get this going. I can tell you now.
I actually got a dozen or more emails asking where we are.
I can tell you now what's going on. Okay, in January 13th or so, Elon Musk called.
Okay,
and he wanted help with the Department of Government Efficiency. So I met with E-Dog, and I've been working with him. As you know, he works 120 hours a week.
Oh yeah,
right. I'm right there with him.
Super busy.
Super busy guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to fly in when I can.
All right.
Okay. But it's not easy making America great again.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's.
Can you do me a favor and stay the hell out of the Treasury Department, please?
Oh, I got clearance. I got right out. I could go right there.
For God's sake.
And I've got a meeting with the Proud Boys at 1. So we really got to.
Okay. Well, there's your answer. You people that emailed.
Did you see? And this was actually going to be one of my stories, but it's a bonus track.
Oh, okay.
That the Proud Boys lost their trademark because they didn't re-up it.
Oh, really?
And they lost it to a black church that they vandalized at one point. So the black church now has the trademark for the Proud Boys.
Okay.
There you go. There's a little karma right there.
Oh, I like it. It's time for Minutia Men.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is the Minutia Men Celebrity Interview with Rick and Dave.
And I've been spending some time with Trump, too.
Oh, have you?
That dude knows every fast food restaurant in the Washington, D.C. area.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's got a button on his desk that he presses for a Diet Coke.
Right.
And a nice African-American butler comes in with a platter and gives him the Diet Coke.
How sweet.
I know.
That's wonderful.
Well, we better get going, like I said. I got a lot to do today. This one comes from the 51st state, Canada.
Okay.
This
wow, you're going full political today. Full political.
Quebec officials ask public not to boo American Pee Wee hockey players.
Oh, my God.
Quebec city officials are urging the public not to boo the middle school-aged American hockey players who will be in town for a prestigious international Pee Wee tournament that begins next week. Okay. Mayor Bruno Marchand.
They are pissed at us. They are pissed at us.
Mayor Bruno Marchand noted Tuesday that some Canadian fans, especially the Ottawa Senator fans and the Calgary Flames fans, have been booing the American national anthem.
Oh.
And they've been booing American players. And he's a little concerned that when the Pee-wees come next week, they're gonna get the business, like as it said. Which I think it's very nice that they're doing this.
Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. But this story really opened up a core wound for me.
It did.
Yeah. Okay. The year 1976.
Okay.
The Potawatomi Park A-League Angels. Okay.
Yeah.
We were playing the Astros in the league semifinals. Winner goes to the finals.
Okay.
2 outs, bottom of the 6th, which, as you know, was the last inning in Little League. Mm-hmm. And there were runners on second and third. When a young, determined Dave Stern gritted his teeth and walked up to the plate. Sadly, the crowd, made up of mostly parents, weren't particularly excited to see the 96-pound asthmatic step into the box. So I blew my nose.
Yeah.
Put the crumpled Kleenex in my back pocket with 11.
Ask the umpire to hold your inhaler.
right. Put the wadded up paper Kleenex with the 13 other wadded Kleenexes I had in the back pocket, and I get into the box, gritted teeth. I winked.
Did you dig in? Did you dig in with your feet?
I dug in, and I gave a knowing wink to the pitcher.
Sure.
Right. When I heard Danny Durst's father say, "Game's over. He's not going to get a hit." You know what? That fed my fire.
Yeah, did it?
It fed my fire. So I just really dug in. And guess what happened?
You struck out.
3 pitches. that happened close to 50 years ago. And I swear 4 or 5 times a year I still think about it. You have to have a
I've got...
But Danny Durst's father, who's probably dead by now, I would imagine.
Here's mine, all right? Little League, 1970... I think 78, 79. I think I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
My second to last year playing.
How many years did you play Little League?
I played until 10th grade.
So how many years, though, did you play?
I played from 6th grade to 10th grade.
So 4 years?
4 years.
How many hits do you think you had?
I had one season where I hit pretty well.
Okay.
But the other 3 seasons, not so much.
What do you think? What do you think your lifetime average is?
It's
under 100.
I don't know. My on base percentage.
Well, it's great because you walked every time. Yeah.
Except, and here's the day, 1978. My father, who never came to any of my baseball games because he didn't understand the game, didn't enjoy it, said, "I'm coming to your game on Saturday, and I'm gonna bring the movie camera." And that was the year I was hitting. Because I kept saying to him, Dad.
Right, this is not going to last forever. Yeah.
You have to see it. I'm hitting the ball like out of the infield.
Yeah, right. And right. Some of them are not. There are errors, but I'm still counting them as hits. Sure.
The ball is hitting my bat while I'm in the batter's box. Anyway, he comes there, and he's standing behind home plate, and we have this
one of those
film.
like.
It was it was like 1942. I know,
you were
but
black
it was
and white.
It was a Super 8 film, silent, and you see me walking in to the plate, and you see me going, looking at strike 1, looking at strike 2, looking at strike 3, walking back to the dugout. 4 times. 4 times that happened on every pitch. I didn't swing once. It was humiliating, and that film still exists at my sister's house.
And we are going to be when we're in Cooperstown at the when Dick Allen gets his.
We'll bring it along.
Yeah, we'll do that. We definitely. But our best years are past.
But the ripping of the American players. This did happen to like Sean. I took Sean's team to Holland and Germany, a soccer team, and we played against the Dutch team. And this was during Trump's first term.
Yeah.
And when the Dutch players are huge. I mean, Holland, I think, is the tallest population in the world. They're all
really not like Kenya or whatever.
Believe it or not,
really.
And our kids were little. Yeah. And they were knocking them around, and every time they'd foul them, they'd stand over them and say Donald Trump.
Oh my God!
Wow,
it
thanks a lot for bringing him into the world. So that is a real thing. It really happened.
So when we owned Greenland from Denmark,
Denmark is different than Holland, but
it's the same.
Yeah,
cold.
Right. All right. Did you have anything else? You told me you needed a Minutia quiz. Is that for later?
Well, that's later. That's for later.
Okay.
You've got your story.
I have a story for you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm noticing a new trend, Dave, in Facebook, Reels, the Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube, and this is the new trend. And we've played an example of it once or twice before in the show. It is German humor, is what I'm calling it, all right? Germans making fun of themselves for essentially not having a sense of humor, right? And people
there's a lot of layers there.
There are, because that's how Germans are complex. But people are starting to send this stuff to me. This one was sent to me by Scott. This is called A German at a U.S. Airport.
Okay.
All right. And let's make sure that's on. And here we go.
Why are there so many American flags everywhere? Did people forget where they landed? I was looking for a bakery so I could buy a loaf of Dunkelbrot to bring home, but I only saw pizza places and barbecue. I also saw people drinking at the bar. It's 9 a.m. Who hurt you? I am also disturbed by the severe lack of Deuter rucksacks. I think I might be the only one. There is a lot of sitting going on. I think the only way for me to survive the wait is to make Sport. Did you notice that they did not have Sprudelwasser? They only had Dasani. Bleh. How can they even call this water? It's basically Coca-Cola. Why am I staring at the planes? Because I'm checking that the engineering is correct, of course. I'm quite sure that if the pilot were to get sick, that I could take over. I would not even need a map. There are so many unhealthy options here for eating. I'm just looking for juice. Huh? I'm looking for juice. Saft. Juice for drinking. What did you think I said?
There it is. A German at a U.S. airport. You can find that.
He's right, though. I mean, you can, whenever you're at an airport, you're eating absolute shit.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a salad guy. There's like that farmer's, fridge or whatever that you could spend the $6 for a salad, but everything else is just
it is
good.
true.
Hey, we got a review.
All right.
This is from Bugsy Malone. On Castbox. Relatable and casual. While it's a show that celebrates minutia, the small, seemingly insignificant details of life, it's done in a way that feels very relatable. The topics may seem trivial, but they're often tied to larger cultural observations, which makes them feel both accessible and fun. Whether it's talking about local Chicago history or the quirks of everyday life, the hosts have a way of making even the most obscure subject matter entertaining.
Wow.
That is longer than our shows.
Wow.
Bugsy.
The nicest thing anyone ever said to us.
Right. Bugsy, I'm going to send you the email to my wife and tell her to maybe
please
give me a review every once in a while that's this nice.
All right. It's time for another feature.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls.
So this is the part of the show where we dip into the vast Rick and Dave archives, and I'm talking vast. As a matter of fact, today, Dave,
we could probably hold all of the world's gold.
We probably could
In the vast archives.
I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
All right. We have 2 events that happened this week in history. We can go back to either 2000, the year 2000,
Okay.
and relive a moment from 2000. Or we can go back to 1809.
Well, the 1809, we are not that old.
Right.
So the 1809, it wouldn't be a Cubs thing. That's too, you know what? I'm intrigued about the 1809. Let's go 1809.
Okay. It turns out that right before the holidays, my son, Sean, went to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And he went to the Lincoln Memorial.
Okay, sure.
And tomorrow, Dave, we're recording this on the 11th of February. Tomorrow, the 12th.
It's Lincoln's birthday.
It's Lincoln's birthday. So guess what we're going to do?
Let's try to put that fucking Lincoln poem again in our show that I can't outrun, but go ahead.
But I want you, this time as you're listening to it, imagine a 22-year-old from Chicago standing underneath the Lincoln Memorial holding a phone that is playing this classic audio.
He was probably wasted, wasn't he?
No, it was like 9 a.m. So
he's German.
I don't think he was. Here we go from 1974.
The coyote.
Honest Abe, he was called, and we are sure he was not bald. When he was young, he read and read, and even when he was in bed. But until the day he died, he had still never lied. He was one of our leaders, and a good one at that, who always wore a very high hat. And just as he wanted and just as he got, except for a man with a dangerous plot. John Wilkes Booth was a very bad man, and surely not a Lincoln fan. He put a great leader into his grave who wanted so much to save every slave. Dave Stern, 1974.
2 years before the Danny Durst father incident.
He still had confidence then.
Right, exactly.
You could hear the confidence.
Right. I am going to be a Carl Sandburg move over.
Robert Frost, kiss my ass.
Yeah, right. I remember writing it like, Honest Abe, he was called. What rhymes with called? Called bald. And we are sure he's not bald. The last stanza isn't bad.
I think the whole thing is genius. But that's
for a 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You have more stuff for us?
I need the Florida jingle.
Okay. And I was told it was going to be a minutia.
Well, I told you there's Florida and a
all
quiz.
right, here we go.
What's wrong with you, Florida?
Florida attorney accused of striking man with dinner plate after dispute over buffet line etiquette. The Florida attorney, Mark Rohrher, 52. And here's a picture of Mark Rohr. And let me show you this picture. He is not unfamiliar with buffets. Okay,
He's not.
Okay,
and with the name Rohr, I think he might be German.
Okay, so Mark Rohr is accused of assaulting a man with a dinner plate at a wedding reception following a dispute over line cutting at the Boca Lago, not Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
Although I could see that there might be some disputes there too. At the Boca Lago Country Club in Boca Raton. Here's his pic. Like I said, I showed you his picture. According to Palm Beach County Jail records, the altercation escalated from a verbal confrontation to a violent incident, resulting in Rohr's arrest. The clash unfolded on January 18th at the prime rib carving station. Basically, what happened? Rohr became incensed. Rohr allegedly became incensed when two young girls, aged 11, purportedly cut in front of him at the buffet line.
Whoa, uncool.
Enraged by this breach of buffet etiquette, Rohr went to the father of one of the girls, setting off a chain of events that culminated in a literal fight, a physical altercation. Eyewitnesses and the victim provided their accounts, and everybody is painting the same picture that Mr. Rohr just was a little too pissed off about the line cutting.
Right. They're 11-year-old girls.
Right, exactly. It's like, so that was going to happen. But I figure, what is America's favorite pastime?
Fighting?
No, it's buffets. Right?
Okay.
So I have an American buffet quiz.
Oh.
So why don't you fire up the quiz jingle?
I wish I had one that had a Western theme so we could go to the Golden Corral.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a Golden Corral?
I have.
Oh, my God.
It's the worst ever.
Horrible.
It sounds so great because you've got all these choices, but here we go.
Time now for a Minutia quiz.
Question number 1. 3 questions. According to the USDA, how many calories does the average American eat at a buffet? Now, I have numbers, but why don't you just take a shot? How calories at
1,000.
2,300.
Wow.
The average American will eat the average American will eat 2,300 calories at a.
That's a lot.
That's your whole day.
Yeah.
Whatever. Question 2. What is the most popular dish served at a Chinese buffet? Now, again, I've got choices, but why don't you just...
Egg roll. It's got to be egg roll.
No, it's not even top 4.
Kung Pao?
Nope. Here are your choices. General Tso's. Is it General Tso?
General Tso.
Chicken. Sweet and sour chicken. Orange chicken. Or the soft serve ice cream.
Orange chicken.
General Tso.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That crispy, sweet, and savory dish with a mild kick.
All right.
All right. Finally, question 3. Which dish at a buffet results in the most food poisoning incidents?
The salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's fruit salad.
Yeah.
The 4 choices were going to be sushi, raw oysters, cream-based sauces, and fruit salad. The fruit salad, it's the salmonella and the E. coli.
Yep.
It's just a potpourri of E. coli.
I never go to the salad bar for that reason.
What? So you've been to Chinese buffets, obviously.
I've never been to a Chinese buffet.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
You've never been to a Chinese
I've never been to one.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to do that.
All right.
We are going to blow past that 2,300 calories like it's nobody's business.
I've been to Golden Corral. No, I'm not going back to that.
Well, so, I teach at Concordia.
Yeah.
And there's a dorm there that you can eat for like $11. It's all you can eat, right? I'm like, oh my God, $11. I'll relive my dorm. It's great. Not that good.
Yeah.
It's just
That's shocking, really.
Yeah. The cookies are great. I eat like $11 worth of cookies, but no.
Well, I have a story for you, Dave. Once upon a time, there was a strip joint in the Chicago area known as Heavenly Bodies. Remember?
Heavenly
Bodies.
Right.
That ad was on every day on the score, like 20 times a day. The place was in Elk Grove, near the airport.
I had never been there.
I had not also ever been there. It was also
I hear
the
the food was
club
great.
I played for, and the adult team players, they would go there every Thursday. After the training sessions, you'd hear them go, "Hey, we're going to HB. Who's going to HB?"
Okay.
That was like a regular thing.
Do they have German accents? Und
No.
let's go see.
These are people that are like 10 years younger than us.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So
And-
second wives, divorced second wives.
Some of them, yes. But this past week, one of them sent me the video of Heavenly Bodies being bulldozed. Apparently, it went out of business. COVID was not good to them. I would
imagine the lap dance business definitely wasn't good.
Right. I guess if you face that way, what's the difference? But so anyway, it got bulldozed and it came down, and it is no longer. It doesn't no longer exist. But it made me think of the ad that you and I wrote for Heavenly Bodies. Do you have any memory of this? Because I checked with Vince because I remembered we had written one, but I didn't remember what it was about or how.
I don't have any recollection. I vaguely remember that we did do one, but I don't remember.
Would you like to hear it?
Oh my God, yes.
All right, this goes back about 25 years. So we wrote this.
So this is vast archives. Okay.
All right, here we go.
I just wanted to thank you folks for putting up this place and letting us play here. I'm John.
I'm Ray. And this is Annie and Karen. Say hi to Mike. Say hi to John.
Hi, John. Well, we're going to let you two talk. If we're going to have all these people coming to 2835 Higgins Road in Elk Grove Village, well, we've got a lot of work to do. It was nice meeting you, John.
It's beautiful here. For me, it's like a dream come true. Can I ask you something? Is this heaven?
No. It's Heavenly Bodies in Elk Grove.
Heavenly Bodies? With these beautiful fantasy dancers, the great selection of beers, the lunch specials, and the widescreen TVs, I could have sworn it was heaven.
No, it's just Heavenly Bodies at 2835 Higgins Road in Elk Grove Village.
Gotta get the address in twice.
Hey, John,
yeah?
You want a basket of cheddar fries?
Oh, I like that.
There we go.
That is spectacular.
Isn't that great?
That is fantastic. Did that run? That never. How did we get past the copyright infringement on the?
Well, that's why it never ran because we couldn't use the actual music. But I thought that was really good.
We gotta get Dwyer Brown back on.
Yeah,
we interviewed John Kinsella.
Yeah, we could have had him record that. So anyway, that is that.
I swear to God, I had. When you heard it, did you remember?
No, I mean I didn't. I kind of remember because everything I wrote in those days was about
baseball.
Field of Dreams. But I played it for those guys. That we used to go to HB. They're like, why? What's with the old voices and the slow music and everything? That wasn't what it was like at all. Like, well, you dumbasses,
Field of Dreams.
Sit down, you piece of crap.
Right, exactly.
Let me tell you, comedy. This is how comedy works.
Put down your TikToks.
My God, morons! All right, it's time for another feature.
Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
You like the edit? We did an edit on that. Tony did. And sent it
so you were, while I was cutting government programs, you were cutting our tape.
I was cutting 7 seconds of waste off of the show. This email, so these are the emails of people don't remember what the show was about because they haven't heard it in several weeks. But at this part of the show, we read your emails about your brushes with celebrities. And this one is from Augie. Augie, here's one for your celebrity bit. I met a Pulitzer Prize-winning author once.
Oh,
yeah, I did too, but that's a story for another time. It was in New York City about 20 years ago. My wife and I had just gone to the Museum of Natural History, which was her idea, and we followed that up with a visit to the local bar, which was my idea. Seemed like a fair compromise. We sat at the bar, and because it was an Irish pub, I ordered what I always order at one of these places.
Guinness.
A Guinness, yes. The man sitting at the bar next to me said, they pour a nice pint here. But he was having a club soda on that day. The bartender says, you know who that is?
I know. I think I know who it is.
Who?
Frank McCourt.
It's Frank McCourt. That's right. Oh, wow, I said, pretending to know who that was. But my wife really did know, and she was excited. She had just read Angela's Ashes. She sat between Frank and me and started peppering him with questions about his mother, Angela. And Frank said, would you like to hear a story about her? Before he wrote the book.
He's the Lucky Charms guy, too.
Before he wrote the book, he said he would go do stage readings about his poor childhood. And his mother attended one in Ireland. And in the middle of the show, she got up and screamed, "It's all a pack of lies."
Well, so Frank McCord, it's interesting because we've talked about it in my family, and I'm not going to tell you why we're talking about it, but he doesn't use punctuation.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's a brilliant. I mean, he does use punctuation, but it's,
well, you want to hear what Augie said here? I honestly, I could have listened to him read the phone book with that Irish brogue. He is a charming man. I liked him so much, I read the book. Did not like the book. Depressing with a capital D.
yeah, right. I know. Well, isn't that they would eat? They would like have a radish between all of them.
I read like one chapter and I was like, I cannot.
It's not an upper.
I can't handle it.
No. Dom DeLuise was great though.
Yeah. Larry Storch, the best.
Sid Caesar nailed it.
So other than this show, we have another show.
Yeah.
And that show, despite your absence, has gone on.
I know.
Has gone on.
Yes, I appreciate it.
There is a interview right now of Larry Rosenbaum. Tell everybody who Larry is.
Him and his brother Carl were the owners of the Flipside record stores, record chain. And if you are of a certain age, what would it be? Over 45, over 50 maybe? No, over 50.
Yeah.
In Chicago, you knew the Flipside record stores.
Oh, my God.
It was nobody who did not know. You'd get your concert tickets there. You'd get your bongs. You'd get
the Loop T-shirts.
Yes,
were there. I mean,
this was a big part of our childhood.
Back in the day, for you youngsters who didn't live through this, but the record store was kind of like our home away from home.
Yeah.
We would go there. We would talk to our buddies who also were, looking at records for the first time. Hey, have you heard about...
There's a new band, Foreigner. It's great.
Hey, wait, did Lizzie's got a new album? That sort of thing.
38 Special.
But that's what we did.
Right.
And they captured it beautifully in the book, The Flip Side. Yeah. And so Larry came on the show and told us some great stories. It's up there right now if you want to listen to it. All right, we have people to thank.
Elon Musk for giving me the day off.
Thanks to Elon. Right. We also need to thank Tony Lasano with Opie Productions. Tony, who gave us the edit
of the 7 seconds
of the Celebrity Potpourri.
Right. We saved you 7 seconds of your lives.
You're welcome.
Yep.
We also want to thank Ed Silla of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again.
I don't know when we'll be back, but we'll
be back again whenever Dave can fit it into his schedule with another episode of
Minutia Man.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
I think the whole thing is genius.